How are we? Welcome in, everyone. As you've read from the title, today is our special event. Me and Ken are going to do a series of podcasts dedicated to the empowerment of yourself. Now, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very good. It's going to be very exciting. We're both very excited to do it. I think it's going to not only help us, but also help you guys as well. Because us talking about these kind of things opens up new doors in our heads, and then it might open new doors for you as well. So it's something that's super exciting. So I'm very keen to give it a go and see how we go with it. So there's probably going to be, I don't know how many parts we're going to have to this yet, but we're going to aim for 10. But the first one is going to be all about confidence. Now, I think we picked confidence as the first topic because confidence is what drives everything else, right? So if you don't have the confidence to start in the first place to make yourself a better person, then you can't get anything done, right? So I think confidence is very important when it comes to the first topic that we're going to talk about. Now, it's all going to be to your own interpretation, right? We're going to put our ideas and our views and our values out there for you guys to see. And you guys can then decide what you take from it. So you might take very little from it, whereas you might take a lot from it. So it just depends the kind of person you are, how you interpret the situation, how you interpret what we're talking about. So it's all up to you. Whatever you get out of it, even if it's the most minute thing to the most major thing, life-changing experience, whatever it might be, we're just happy to have you here. And we're happy for you guys to come on this little journey with us. Like I said, we've been planning this for a long time. And it's something we're both very interested in. I guess we'll see how we go. So welcome in, by the way, everyone. I see Miki in the chat. Fee Rumpel, good to see you. I believe you're from Ken's community. Flyboy, how are we today? Toasty. Sassafras. Haven't seen you before. Thank you for coming in. Make sure, guys, to subscribe to the channel as well so you can get the live updates. We will be doing one of these. We will see, maybe every week or maybe every 2 weeks. We haven't decided yet, but by the end of this, we'll probably come to a conclusion on that as well. So I'm going to bring the big man in. I'm going to give him a little cheeky call here, and we're going to get him on, and we're going to start her up. So hopefully, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy, and get out of it what you feel is best. So let's do this.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, brother? All right. Are you able to see me?
Your camera is not on.
It's not on. Okay, Oh, sorry. There we go.
There he is. Alrighty. Now, what I'm going to do is, I have this little trick that I'm going to do for you so you can see me. Hopefully this works.
Nice. Hey, I like it. All right.
And let's change it up for the people at home. Yeah, there we go. Hey. You got a different camera to them, but they've got that one. So that's my new camera that you can see on your screen. But they see the different one. Very exciting.
Hey, I love it. I heard. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Look at you, hey, Ellie, Seth. Oh man, they're huge supporters. Of the little community we got over there on Twitch. But a lot of these people, they know of you through gaming, and I've been kind of talking about you a lot lately because of all the excitement around what we're doing here.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited.
Oh, you guys rock, man. Thank you so much. So Adam, do you want me to kind of add a little bit to kind of what you just said?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I listened to it. I can't really add much more, to be quite honest with you, but I want to echo Adam's sentiments. Look, those of you know us, which are all of you right now, those of you know that we thrive off of things like this. We thrive off of other people succeeding, communities getting behind us. I know I fool around a lot. I know I have a good time, right? But when push comes to shove, and somebody needs a little bit of motivation or somebody needs some real talk, I'm one of the first people on those front lines, as is Adam. And all of our our conversations are the conversation to this conversation is a lot of fun for us, kind of personally, because it's like, a lot. It's like one whole idea. It's just, Adam will take it here, and then I take it. It's like we pass the baton. You know what I mean? And then we go, you know what? Let's go have this conversation with everybody. So this is for you guys. Obviously, we love doing it. So from that aspect, it's for us. But you're going to interpret this in your own way. I want to encourage everyone to participate. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's really not. If we say something, right, that resonates with you in any way, tell us. Does it remind you of a story? I'm the kind of person that things really stick when there's a story behind it. So if you have any story, tonight's about confidence and all the related topics. Feel free to share. We have plenty of our own. You know what I mean? So if people don't feel comfortable, sure, we're going to go that route. But I mean, Adam, right? We would love to hear from them too. If they want to share,
100%.
Any stories from their side. So
yeah, look,
cool.
We're gonna just have a flow-on conversation as we always do. You guys know us. If you've seen us in any podcast together, you know how we go. We go from one thing to another, and it just continues on. And look, sometimes we need to get put back on track. So if you think that we're going off the rails a little bit and we need a little bit of direction, chuck a question in the chat, so you can bring us back to earth a little bit. But so the topic that we're discussing today is confidence. Now, what we've relayed to each other over, a few phone calls and that about what we're doing here is that we want to basically use this series as a way of you implementing it in your own life as well. So there's always steps to take in life in order to create something. You know what I mean? So you can't just, do you know what I mean? You can't just start from nothing and then just expect things to happen from you. You have to make it happen, right? And then, and most people in this podcast and listening will understand that as a concept. And other people will be like, "Oh, I don't really understand what you mean." Now, so we're going to explain that to you as we go along with this, right? So basically, confidence, I believe, or we've discussed, is the first thing that you need in life in order to achieve anything. Okay, without the confidence to push forward and do that one thing that you want to do, there's no chance, really. And a lot of people will be like, "Well, I don't have any confidence. I don't know how to get confidence." Well, we're going to tell you how. It's we're going to start from scratch and we're going to figure it out together. So the first thing, and I'll push this to Ken after this, but the first thing that I always think when it comes to confidence is we have to understand what confidence is, because I mean, it sounds very seminar-ish, but if you can't define what confidence is, then how do you figure out how to obtain it, right? So the thing that I would say with confidence is it confidence in others or is it confidence in yourself? So the first thing you want to discuss with yourself is, do you have self-confidence? Now, to grow self-confidence is to grow a self-assurance in yourself, right? It's to trust in your own abilities as a person. And if you don't trust in your own abilities as a person, we need to take another step back and start again. But the first thing we need to do, I feel, as someone who's been through a lot of this kind of situations and has benefited from it, is start with how do we define confidence? I'll pass to you, Ken.
I love it. I could sit here and just listen the whole time, but I'm gonna. So let's have fun. Let's do that, right? So this part of it, by the way, everybody, this part of it is kind of us just grabbing whatever comes to mind. You pointed out something that's very important, Adam, right? We're talking confidence. It's a pretty broad spectrum. Self-confidence, confidence in others, all. But I think if we're gonna go into the core meaning that can be kind of consistent across the way, I look at confidence as really as like a skill, right? A strength almost, right? That propels you to do something that means something to you. Now, guys, I did that intentionally, by the way. I wanted it to not be ambiguous, but I wanted it to apply across the board. So let's think about that for a second, right? First of all, I look at it as a skill, meaning that it's something that you can build. You don't have confidence today, no worries, you can build it. Like same like a muscle, you know what I mean? You don't got a bicep today, it's all good. There are exercises to go build it. That's how I feel about confidence. I do feel that it's a strength. It's a strength that you have that propels you, that moves you to do something, right? But that something is always in the direction of a goal, of something that you want. So that could be anything, like I wanted my white monsters that everybody knows I drink, right? So I had confidence to, well, that's different, but I was propelled to go there and, and get it and come back, right? Um, yeah. So so foundationally, Adam, that's how I look at it. You know, the Adam and we really didn't go too deep into our definition. We did talk about how it's powerful and how we can use it, but let's throw it back at you. How do you feel in terms of like that? Like, do you agree, disagree? Where would you take it from there?
So for me, it's if you have confidence in yourself, you can find confidence in other people. That's where I was going with that. So so basically, like if you don't project confidence, you don't have confidence at all in yourself, then how are you supposed to expect other people to be confident for you? And the same vice versa. So how are you supposed to rely on other people to help you with things and to to trust other people with private matters and stuff like that if they don't project confidence either? Because trust and confidence builds together, right? So you have confidence in someone because you trust them, right? Because they project it. But if you don't project either, then they're not going to trust you regardless. So a thing you find when it comes to, if you want to put it into an example of business, right? Yeah. You put confidence into someone because they project confidence to you. So if someone comes up to you, when they're trying to sell you something and goes, you should buy this. And that's all they say. They just go, you should buy this. You know what I mean? Am I going to buy that product? No, I'm not going to buy that product. The next guy comes up and goes, here's the reason why you should buy this. That's confidence, right? So someone projecting that confidence to me is actually producing trust in me to them because of the confidence they're projecting at me. So that's what I'm trying to get my head around. So if you can, whatever aspect in life, whether it be streaming on Twitch or YouTube or whatever it might be, whether it be gaming, having the confidence to run in there, and win that fight, whether it be the confidence in business where you say, I'm going to sell you this product even though you don't even need it. That's the kind of confidence you want to build. And that it takes time to build that kind of confidence. It takes practice, and it starts with goal progression, right? It starts with getting things together. So what is the reason for you having confidence? Do you know what I mean? So you don't just wake up the next day and be like, I'm confident today. People don't do that. People are, some people are different than others. And some people wake up thinking, I don't have any confidence to do anything today. And that's fine, but it's not going to get anything done. Right?
Yeah. You have to have confidence in something. You're 100% right. Even when somebody just says that, even when they're like, man, I feel confident, they're usually referring to something, even though they're not telling you, you know what I mean? An upcoming meeting, a podcast, whatever. But yes, 100%.
Yeah, what are you confident in? Are you confident in jumping off the side of a building with a bungee cord, or are you confident in walking into the office? It's two different things, right? It depends. It's subjective to the person who is showing confidence towards what they're doing.
Can I lead you a little bit on this? But
go
you
for
go
it.
with it. So,
no, it's good.
So let me when I say lead, I mean let me ask. I want to ask you a question because I like where you're going with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I ask you, Adam, all right, you know what, Adam? I just in general, I don't have confidence. I don't have as much confidence as I'd like to. Or as I see some other people. What do we tell that person? Do we ask? Do we start asking them what they want to do with their lives, or what's important to you, or what? Because I'm doing this on purpose because we didn't talk about this, but you know what? That might be a good a good direction to go in.
Well, what I would say if someone says to me, I don't I would say, what makes you happy? That's what I would go down. I would say, do you? The other things that are involved in that is what makes you happy. So why do you require confidence, and what is the objective, right? So that's your main question. But the other side question is this going to affect your life, right? And how? And also, do you care what others think? Okay. Now that's, for me, like that's probably the big one. So like
Yeah.
people lose confidence because they're worried about what others say. So like, here's an example, right? I went to the gym, or I go to the gym most days, right? I go into the gym. If I cared about everyone else in the gym and cared what they thought of me being in that gym, I'd never go, right? Because I wouldn't have the confidence to actually go in there and do my workout without thinking people are judging me, right? Now, a lot of that does go on in that sort of space because everybody in the gym thinks they're a professional at doing it, right? Or the opposite. There's no in between. There's no person that goes in the gym and goes, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it and I'm not worried about anyone around me. That's the lie. You know, like people go into the gym, they look at each other, they judge each other. It is what it is. You can't change that aspect of that culture, right? But having the confidence to go in there, do your workout and not give a fuck about what anyone else is doing, that's confidence. That is the epitome of that. Because, and you know what? You're doing it for you. You're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for your health. You're doing it for the endorphins it brings. You're doing it for like you shouldn't be going to the gym in order to better yourself for somebody else. Do you know what I mean? You're doing it for you, right? That's the whole point. And
sorry, guys.
no, and doing all this, like, you know, like I say with endorphins and stuff, that enhances the confidence because you're getting a feel-good hormone, you know, scientific feel-good hormone through your body that says, today we can. You know what I mean? So that'll power you to do all the other shit in the day because you already have that endorphin rushing through your blood. So it's one of the for me especially, like, you know, one of the big confidence boosters is feeling good, right? If you feel good and you eat the right things and you exercise, and, you know, people have heard this before, like, oh, Adam, don't lecture me about how to live my life. Like, I'm not. I'm just saying what works for me, right? When I was drinking, I drank myself literally to death. I felt no confidence whatsoever. I just felt like shit. I didn't even want to get out of bed. But when I stopped drinking and I started exercising and I exercised more and more and more, I feel more confident in myself, like just naturally, because and just doing things that makes if your body feels good, your mind feels good, it's all connected. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a severed thing. Like,
well, yeah, so look, so we talked about this at length, right? And by the way, like, I just want to say it again, like, you being open about all that, like all that adversity, like, fucking more power to you, bro. Because it's not easy to talk about. But you know, what's funny is that kind of goes into confidence, right? You had the confidence in yourself that, look, you know what? I'm gonna overcome this. You know, like I know that I did this and this is on me.
yeah.
Now, here are the steps, right? You define the steps on what you need to do to overcome it, and you did it all rather quickly, right? And that was confidence. And that ties to what you said earlier. I really think it boils down to defining what it means, right? So let's take this gym example, right? Somebody says, oh, you know, like, you know, I'm going to the, you know, I go to the gym, you know, I see all these fucking big guys and, you know, they're talking shit, and it just bothers me. It just bothers me. The reason why it bothers you, okay? You know, part of having confidence is knowing what it is that you want to do, and then knowing what you need to do to get it. You know what I mean? Like when in my career, I have to do these speaking arrangements, or I have to talk in front of people. That used to be nerve-wracking until I figured out that, you know what, when I practice a little bit, when I envision doing it over and over and over and over, I have so much confidence that literally I can't fuck up. I cannot mess up because because I've practiced it, I've rehearsed it. So in that gym example, right? Right? I think if the person can lay out what they want from the gym, what you want, what you want from the gym. Okay, what does it mean to you? Lay it out, get your regimen together, go in and day out. When you're so focused and you know what you want and you start seeing those little minute improvements day in and day out, you're not going to give two shits what anybody says, because in your head, you're like, man, it's day 7. Is that a fucking tricep? It's working, man. I'm doing my thing. I'm good. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? But that's the problem, though, Adam. You know, people who don't lay out the steps, people who don't take the time to define what it is that they want because of fear.
Yeah.
People who don't do that end up being the ones that pay attention to all the criticism.
Correct.
You know, because they're getting criticism and they're like, "Fuck, I guess I'm doing this wrong." But you're not doing it wrong. You just haven't taken the time to define what it is that you want confidence in.
Correct. Well, like this comes down to the point of fear of failure, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
if you are afraid to do something, you're not confident in it, right? There's a reason for it. So like, again, the example is, we can use the gym example again. Why are you afraid of going there? What stops you? Is it because you care what other people think? You know? Well, that you've got to get yourself out of that headspace, because those people are always going to be there. That's just life. It's the same as Twitch. If you go on a live stream, are you afraid of what people are going to say? Afraid of what people are watching? Afraid of what people are talking about? There's a reason a lot of people stream without cameras, because they're not confident. They're not confident in themselves to do so. They might not like the way they look. They might not like the way their voice sounds. They might not, whatever it might be, right? It's like extreme factors to those kind of things. Like, you can't change these things. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're innate to you. Like, you can't change the way your voice sounds. Do you know what I mean? That's not a thing you can do, right? Well, not via any medical science I'm aware of. So you can't change that. So that's just a factor. That's just life. You just need to deal with that, right? That is just the way it is. That's you. But then, you know what I mean? Like, if you have a voice that you don't like, who's to say that anyone else doesn't like it? Like, how about you just use it to your advantage? Like, instead of being like, I hate my voice, just talk louder. You know what I mean? Like, talk louder. Because you know what? Is the more you talk, the louder you talk, the less it'll bother you. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a really simple example, but it still stays true to the topic that we're saying. So like, if you are afraid to have a camera on, during your stream, just turn it on. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. And whatever anyone says in the chat, who gives a shit? Like, it's your stream. You're in charge. You block that person. You get rid of that person. It's your thing. Like, you had the confidence enough to just turn on the stream in the first place. Remember, right? So that was step one. You know what I mean? You could even go back. You had the confidence in the first place to buy a computer, right? You went into the shop and you bought one, right? That could have been step one. It could have even been saving the money to buy the computer in the first place. That could have been step one. You needed to buy the money. How did you get it? That you needed confidence to get that money. Like, you had a goal in mind and you knew what the end result was going to be, right? If the end result was you just streaming, you made it. You've done it already. But turn the camera on. Just be yourself. And if you're unhappy with whatever it might be, change it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's ways to change things. Like, obviously, not the voice, but there is other things you can do to change things and make yourself happier. Like, there is ways to do that. And again, it all stems to confidence. Always.
I agree with all of it. I can't really add much more, but let's take it a little further, right? So what if someone says, yes, I get it. Like, I get it. That makes sense. But still, like, when somebody gives me the criticism, like, it hurts my feelings. And I know that might be extreme. Nobody says that, right?
Yeah.
But people disguise it. They just get what it says. People say, it's still like, people talking shit. What they're really saying is like, this guy hurt my feelings. Like he they're my voice is high pitched for a guy, or too deep for a girl. Whatever it is, like in the example, like they'll show like like anger, but it's still like I don't want to hear that shit. But so how does confidence tie into getting people to not give a shit about stuff like that? I know I touched on it a little bit before, right?
Yeah.
But you're right, because us, like, we can do that, right? Like we could read the criticism. Here's the thing, and I don't want to go in a different direction, but I do want to say this. When I get criticism, depending on who the person is, right? I do receive it in a constructive way. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. Like, if you talk shit to me in some way, shape, or form, even if it's sarcasm, for a moment, my brain is processing it. Like, is this an opportunity for growth? Like, are they calling something out that maybe I haven't considered? Right.
Yeah.
But that also boils down to because I'm confident in myself. Like, I am confident that I have the ability to take criticism, dissect it, and become better. But how does somebody who doesn't do that, who can't do that today, somebody who receives criticism and they kind of like go under the shell, and they're already struggling with confidence. What do we do to help that person?
Well, the first
Just say,
thing
hey,
is that
don't
you've got to define why it upsets you, right?
Okay.
So if someone says something mean to you, right, why did it upset you, right? Because I can almost guarantee that person either doesn't even know what they're saying half the time, just says it to get a reaction out of you, and you're giving them exactly what they want, right? So in that example, of course, but why does it upset you? Why is it? Because if you to build the confidence in order for that to not upset you, you have to figure out the reason it upsets you in the first place, right? Because it's not the context of it, it's the principle of it, right? So like anyone can come in and say anything like negative, right? And you will interpret it a different way, right? So if someone comes in to my chat and tells me to fuck off, right? I don't care. Because I have that confidence. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. If someone comes in and he says to me, I'm ugly, I don't care. Like, I have the confidence, right? But those two things could be different for someone else. So someone might be really, sensitive to the way they look, and someone says you're ugly, and that's worse than someone coming in and telling you to fuck off, right? But that's all individual. Like, so now you figured out the reason. Do you know what I mean? Like the reason as to why that might upset you is because you don't have confidence in the way you look, right? Now,
yes. It's a signal.
Yeah, and that tells you that. So now that doesn't mean you have to change yourself, right? That doesn't mean you have to change yourself. That just means you have to be accepting of what you see in the mirror, right? So you don't have to make drastic changes because you're not trying to impress anyone, okay? And that's never the way you should live life. You should never try to change yourself in order to impress other people. That's vanity, right? That's 2021, okay? It's ridiculous, all right? You should never try and change yourself. Like, that's social media, that's Instagram, that's all this other shit. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. Don't worry about it, all right? The supermodels and all that, they're genetic freaks. Don't worry about them, all right? Just leave them alone. Let them do whatever they want to do. Like, not everyone is the same. We're all different, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think, and you need to get that into your head, right? If you can't get that in your head, you'll never push past the point of being confident, because if you're always worried about what other people think, you're always worried about how people look at you, you're always worried about that is just going to plague you forever. That is going to, everything you do is going to revolve around that. And the first thought you have is always going to be that. Now, you need to consider how is it that you get out of that loop, right? Now, like I said with the exercise type of thing, exercise, again, produces endorphins, happy hormone, right? That will, the more you do that, the more confident you'll be in yourself, right? That's one way. Another way is just doing things that make you happy. Just do things that make you happy, right? And you know what? And also, if you're in a situation like, where you're streaming and someone makes you feel uncomfortable, go through your head of what I just said. Literally take all that stuff that I just said, put in your head and say, okay, Adam said, I'm upset by what this guy said, but why am I upset by it? Now, if you go down that thought process every single time someone does something like that, I know it sounds exhausting, right? I understand. But if you do that with yourself, someone says something mean to you and you get upset by it, you need to then break that down in your own head and figure out how do you stop it from happening again, okay? Because only you will be able to determine that. We can point you in the right direction, right? But this is something you really need to develop by yourself based on the ideas that we're promoting here, okay?
1,000,000,000%. So I was going to piggyback on that until you just did. That's really, really important. Everybody says, I really don't care what people think or what that person, I really don't. But if it bothered you, right? Be honest with yourself, dude. Everybody, guys, be honest with yourself. Fine. You want to lie to us? You want to lie to other people? Whatever. But be honest with yourself. If somebody who you don't know makes a comment about something that you did or something that you have, right, and it bothered you, be honest with yourself. Sorry, I obviously don't give a fuck what this person thinks. They don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
But they talked about something that I have and that I do, and it bothered me. So own that. You know what I mean? Go down that route. You know, do the things that that Adam was just talking about. Address that face on. You could do it on your own. Nobody even has to know about that. But those mental exercises are very important, right? Because doing that one at a time, before you know it, you're building resilience. Every time you go through those exercises and you understand why you feel a certain way when somebody says something, I'm telling you, I promise you, I wasn't always, neither of us, we weren't always where we are. I
Mm.
am at the, I am at the point, right, where I'll take, if we were to get, let's just say, 100 pieces of feedback, right, and 75% of them were criticism. I promise you guys, you guys listening, I promise you that although it's not what we were looking for, I've trained myself to look at that as, all right, you know what, here's an opportunity because, missed the mark somewhere. So let's read this. Let's see what it's about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I've trained myself to be able to absorb criticism, even if it's intended, even if it was sent to me like talking shit. You still have the ability to look at the criticism, take the little bit of piece of it that actually mention something that you can improve on, go forward. That's it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um the you started talking about like the you actually said something that I think a lot of people could probably relate. You said, look, I know it sounds like a lot. And guys, look, tell us. We want to know, right? Because I think some of this may sound like a lot when we're talking about all the different things you got to do, in your head, and you got to think. But I promise you that when I say that you can train yourself to think that way and reprogram, like I'm not talking like crazy shit that I read in a fucking paper. I'm talking about things that I did. Remember, Adam, when I gave you the example before about doing your bed or cleaning your room, right?
Hmm.
People oftentimes like, dude, start with clean your room. And I know for a fact, a large majority of people are kind of like, fuck, man, even that is like, you're asking me to do quite a bit, man. We had the pandemic and shit, I got shit from all over the house in my room. Even if somebody were to say, we'll make your bed. It's okay, dude. If you're the kind of person like, I don't have time to sit. Fine. But here's a really cool little trick that I promise you will work every time. For anybody who's willing to consider it, right? Don't make the bed, all right? But start with tidying your pillow. On Monday, tidy your pillow. If you don't do this already, okay? Tidy your pillow, get your pillow there. Forget the sheets. You don't need it could be the bare mattress. Who cares? But start with that. Tidy the pillow. On Monday. On Tuesday, tidy your pillow, okay? And then make sure there's a sheet on there. On Wednesday, tidy your pillow, put a sheet on there, put a comforter on there. I promise you, because this is just the way we are as humans, by Thursday or Friday, you're gonna be making your fucking bed, no problem. It's you won't even want to leave the room without making that bed because you've done a little toy, a little gaming with your mind. If
Hmm.
you program yourself to realize like it's really not that much. I can fucking do this. That's confidence.
Yeah.
Building it a little bit at a time.
And
Sorry,
routine.
I know I went in a
Yeah.
different
Oh no,
direction, but
absolutely. I agree. Routine does build confidence. 100%. So like if you have a routine to life, so say most people have, let's take average person. I know this isn't for everyone, but it's basically right. Average person, 9 to 5 job, right? Monday to Friday. Okay, perfect. What do you do before you go to work? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you have a ritual? Like most people, grab a coffee, right? That's my ritual. Anyway, before I go to work, every single day, I have to have my coffee. It's not because I need the caffeine. It's not because I, have to have it. It's my routine. It's the way I start my day, right? It could be different for anyone. Someone could just get up, have a giant drink of water when they wake up, and that's how they start their day, right? Like everybody has something they do. Some people, they get dressed straight away when they wake up, or they stretch, or they go to the gym, or whatever it might be. If you have a routine to things, the confidence comes with that routine because you know exactly what you're planning on doing in that day, right? So it sounds robotic, but if you want to get in a good headspace and build confidence, you've got to start with some sort of step routine, right? So like if you have chaos all the time, a lot of people who are streamers will know this, right? And I've done this all the time. You say you stream different hours every time, right? So say you stream Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and each day you might stream. One day is 2 hours, one day is 5 hours, one day is 10 hours, one day is 4 hours, that's going to fucking ruin your entire everything. Like, so every single time you log on and you stream for 10 hours instead of 4 hours, you're going to ruin the next stream and then the next stream. And it's just like, it's going to be a flow on effect because one, you're going to be too tired. Two, your content's going to go downhill. Three, whatever it might be. It's quantity over quality, right? You just want to be online more because that's your place. That's where you want to be. But if your content, the quality of your content is subpar because of the, you're flogging yourself to do it, it's not worth doing, right? But if you had a routine, say, and this is what I will be adopting, because I've been a victim of this in the past, just because, I have no chill, and that's just my personality. Like I do everything to 110%, or I don't do it at all, and that's something I need to work on. Moderation in most things in my life. 100%. Like, no one's perfect, right? Everyone has their things that they have to do. But when I first started streaming, I streamed like every other day, 10 hours a day. I used to work 10 hours a day. Like, I sleep like fucking 2 hours, 3 hours. I just get up, do it all over again. I'm like, I'm a fucking machine, like, I'm not a machine. I crashed and burned many times, and I got very sick, and I neglected my health. I had problems with digestion, and my skin was starting to look funny, and I have like headaches and all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just promoted bad behaviors because I didn't give time to things that were more important, right? So at the end of the day, like if you have a routine, right, and a quality routine. Right? So instead of streaming every day, you stream once or twice a week for 4 hours, a set time. Everybody knows when you're going to be on. Everybody knows when what to expect, if not more, because you have more time to plan it. You have more time to promote it. You have more time to make it better, right? That's confidence. Because in those 4 hours, you can fill those 4 hours with better content and better quality content than you could have done in the whole week's worth of 27 hours worth of streaming, right? But you have the confidence to do that because you're like, I'm not worried about losing the viewer the next day. I'm not worried about, the people that might not come on a Thursday, won't come on a Monday. No, if they want to watch you and they enjoy your stuff, they'll be there on the Monday. That's confidence.
Yeah. So I just posted a question in the chat, but I want to say it out loud because I don't know if everybody always reads it, but for you guys listening in, because we're using our examples or whatever, and we hope it's resonating, obviously. But if there's anybody in the chat that wants to give us an example of something that's going on in their life, right? It could be anything. I mean that's how I feel, at least, right? I mean, we don't. Right across the board.
It could be the smallest thing to the biggest thing, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If you can use the principles that we're talking about in a contextual way, and you have something you want to add, go for it. I have no problem with that at all.
And what's funny is that's actually kind of a confidence exercise in and of itself, right?
Exactly.
Like you have to have confidence to kind of be a little bit vulnerable,
exactly.
to laugh at yourself. I'd love to know, what if somebody is struggling. It could be an experience too. It doesn't have to be something that happens all the time. Perhaps maybe something happened recently. Because look, we all get caught off guard. See, the thing about confidence, right? Where a lot of people misconstrue, in my opinion, is that people feel like if you're a confident person, like you must be a certain kind of persona all the time. And I want to tell you, as somebody who's relatively confident, that's not how it works. I get caught off guard like everybody else. There are days where I need somebody, like I'll need like an Adam, or I'll need somebody else to just remind me, like, bro, you got this. You know what I mean? Like you're okay. Part of being confident is being okay with being vulnerable, and this kind of goes back a little bit to the whole idea of failure, right? Like, sorry, I get distracted by that.
Are you good?
The alley. I shouldn't have my chat up because the moment I see it pop up, everybody knows I have ADHD. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I can't do the multitasking.
Reading what Ali has written here, and I'll read it out so that we can have context.
Let's do it.
Just do it mentally is motivating when it comes to confidence, but as the person who has severe anxiety, it just isn't. It's not realistic to just do it now. Understandingly so, the thing that because I've had anxiety in the past when it comes to bits and pieces and doing things, right? And for me, it's more of like a headspace situation. So like if you're in the wrong headspace and the anxiety gets worse, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is in life. If you're going to the grocery store to buy something, like if you have anxiety about being around people, right? Then that's the problem. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing you need to fix. I mean, anxiety affects all of us, especially in a world of so much disconnection between people, right? That's absolutely a proper analyzing of that. But I think what you need to do when you do have anxiety, you need to ask yourself why you're anxious about what it is that you're doing. So like it's for me, and I am speaking of someone who's had anxiety about a lot of things. Like I never used to public speak ever. I was terrified. I would shake and tremble and get very upset about it. And it would affect me in really weird ways. But the only way I got better by doing it is just doing it, right? Now anxiety as a human being, it stops you from doing that kind of thing, right? So then you need to go back to basics. Like you need to basically figure out, so why does this make me anxious? How does it make me anxious? And how do I take the small steps in order to build up that confidence so that anxiety goes away? Because it's always going to be in the back of your head, right? But if you can train your brain a little bit in order to just like get over that mountain so you can see the other side of it, it doesn't matter what it is, you will grow confidence and the anxiety will dissipate.
Yes. Mickey, thank you. That's a very powerful question. Toaster, fucking love you guys. Thank you for sharing those questions. We're gonna jump into them in a second. Allie, uh, I think that's great. That was great information. From Adam. I can't come to you from a person who really experiences a lot of anxiety because I don't. And look, you guys know, eh, as much as I do like to have fun with the idea of embellishment, this is like real to me. Like this is real. So I'm not going to give you guys bullshit around something I'm not too familiar with. I've seen anxiety a lot. I have felt pressure obviously in certain situations, but I can't tell you with confidence that I've experienced like a ton of anxiety. However, I can say this, and I don't know if it may help or it may not help, but my son, right, Brandon, he suffered with anxiety. He's only 5, but he suffered with anxiety at a very like from like the moment he could speak at 2 all the way through. And he would close and he wouldn't talk to anybody, but he would talk to me. And I would always have these little side conversations. And what I did with him, and look, this is different, I know, because they're little and their brains are still forming, but I would just ask him. I'd say, look, yeah, because he would like try to like rip his hands off, which is kind of hilarious thinking about it with Allie because she's always talking about throwing hands. So it's kind of funny there, Allie, the connection. But he would do this, right? And I'd say, "Whoa, what's wrong?" Daddy, just like that. And I'd say, "You're nervous. I know you're nervous. What is it that you're nervous about?" He would eventually tell me what he's nervous about, and this is the part where I want to try to see if maybe this could help in any way. But what I would ask him is this: if that does happen, right? If what you're nervous about does happen, what's the worst that could happen?
Mm.
Are you going to still be like healthy? Are you still going to be in one piece? Are you still going to be able to move forward? Are you just not going to like the outcome? I don't, again, I don't know anxiety, but for me, when I feel high pressure situations, and when I feel that pressure mounting up, I stop myself and I'm like, whoa, whoa, take a deep breath. What's the worst that could happen here? What am I so worried about? And then I break it down into all the different things. And then I realize that little by little, if the worst case scenario were to happen, I'll live. I'll move on. I can handle that. Right? Like, does anybody ever look at like the past and think of like all the different shit that made them go absolutely ape crazy and ever wonder like, God, I wish I would have just fucking knew that it was gonna work out, that I was still gonna have a good life, have a car, have a house, have kids, have all this shit, right? You can do that now, by taking little steps like that. So I don't know, may or may not have helped, but hopefully it did. My son has no anxiety, by the way. Now he's completely retrained. The way he's 5, and he's completely like when things go down, he still gets nervous and he'll talk about it. But we talk about what it is that's making him feel that way, and then he quickly realizes that he's going to be okay and he can handle it.
I think
Uh,
that comes down to the other thing of big picture focus too.
Yeah.
So like if you are focused on the bigger picture of whatever you're doing, you might not be as anxious about the small things, right?
Yeah.
But getting big picture focus is sometimes unobtainably difficult. It's the same, like, remember how I gave you the example of the cake, right?
Mhm.
Before, when I said, like, basically, if I said to you right now, everyone in the chat, go make a cake, right? Some people will be like, I don't know how to make a cake. I was like, well, instead of saying that, think in your head the steps to make the cake, or the steps to find out how to make the cake, or the steps to find out what to buy in order to make the cake. You got to just go backwards a bit, right? To go backwards isn't a backward step. It's a backward step in achieving the greater purpose of what you're trying to do. So like you've got to think of it that way. Personally, that's how I would go about that.
Hey, Adam, I'm gonna cheat right now. I'm gonna give you the questions so I can hear your response first, and then
Okay.
and I'll you know that. So, Mickey, what a great question. So, Mickey, she asks, how do you build, or how do you begin? How do you begin to rebuild confidence in yourself if you go through a situation where your confidence has been teared down over and over again by someone that you love? That's a fucking great question.
Well, as Mickey probably knows, and I understand why she asked the question, for me personally, I've been through this before. So like the last woman I was very much in love with was the person that, tore me down the worst. I was I'm a very naive person when it comes to relationships, or have been in the past. And that's the reason why I was hurt. So because I expected the best of everyone always, and I always gave everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I never thought anyone would ever do anything wrong to me, because I was just giving love. I was not expecting it, right? So it sideswipes you a bit. So I can relate to it almost indefinitely because I went through the exact same thing. So for me, you had to go through the emotions of it, right? So, well, personally, time heals all wounds, right? Time does heal all wounds, but you can't say that to someone who's just been through something horrible because they don't see that, right? Now, when I went through what I went through, I did everything I could to help this person, even though this person literally just ruined my entire life, right? And it was a horrible experience. And I would never even condone it on my worst enemy, because it was just but the thing is, right, she tore my confidence down to zero, right? It was literally rock bottom, to the point where I was like, I give up, right? Now I'm not the kind of person to give up. You guys know me very well. The reason I am the way I am today is because I got torn down to zero and I had to build back up, because I had to force myself to do so. It's the same thing with drinking, right? When you drink yourself to death and then you go, okay, look, if I don't change this, I am going to die, right? And you come face to face with mortality when it comes to these kind of things, the big picture kind of puts itself out at you, and you're like, wait a second, like I can change this. I can actually, I just need the confidence to do it. Like I need to change this, because if I don't change this, the outcome is the end of everything. That's it. There's nothing else to build on if you have nothing, right? So I went through the exact same thing. And when I first left that relationship, it was a lot to get out of it. It took everything in my being in order to escape that problem, or that toxic relationship, right? And I finally got out of there. She still messages me to this day. It's 6 years ago, right? And she still tries to get in contact with me in other ways all the time, trying to tear me down, right? And when I first left, all I could think was sadness. All I could think was, what did I do wrong? How did I fuck this up? I didn't fuck it up. I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, I did everything I thought was right. She's the one that did everything wrong. I know blaming people for things is not the way you should treat life, but when the clouds clear from your brain after you've been through something that is either tumultuous or tormenting, you gain new perspective on life, right? So now, instead of just automatically trusting people in life, you might take 2 minutes to think about it. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually giving you more confidence in yourself, right? to then put what you hold dear onto others and be like, do they hold the same values as me? You know, are they a toxic person? Do I need to have them in my life? Do I need to surround myself with people like that? The answer is no, right? And you then, by going through that experience, instead of regretting it and looking back on it and being like, I can't believe that happened to me. I hate myself for happening. I can't believe it. Like, why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Fuck all that. Forget all that, okay? Use it as a lesson for it to not happen again, okay? Use it as a lesson in your future, in the future of your relationships, in the future of, you meeting people. Use it as a lesson and know all the signs because you've seen them all. You've been to the bottom. You've seen every single one of them. All of them happen. You know what to look for now. So now use it as a lesson in life to build yourself back up again in a different way, but you'll see that person coming, I can guarantee you, no matter what. If I go on a date nowadays and I go sit across from a person, I know exactly what that person's all about. Even before I start talking to them, just based on their body language, just based on all the things that I've learned in all the years of me going through all this shit. And I'm just like, you can instantly pick it. Like, the toxic people stand out. They do, because toxic breeds toxic. Toxic people hang around each other. They bring each other down. Drug takers, they bring each other down. Toxic people who are just like, people who are emotionally toxic, people who are emotionally draining, like all those people, they bring each other together and they will bring you down as well. But if you see that, you can escape it immediately and you don't have to deal with that shit.
This is going to sound harsh, but it's true. It's very much that leech concept. Like, when they're toxic and they see growth and positivity coming from you, they just want to suck all that out of you, like blood.
Correct.
They just want to suck it all out. Uh, that was good stuff, man. Look, you did say in the beginning, it ruined you, and I know, the hyperbolic, whatever, but you grew, Look
Yeah.
where you are.
No,
Uh,
it did ruin me, dude.
uh,
I literally wanted to
but at
die.
that moment,
Like,
no, I totally get it. At that moment, Mickey, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I want to say thank you for being confident enough to share kind of that question with us, and listening to the input. The I agree with. So there was something that Adam said that was actually going to be kind of like the premise for how I feel about this particular subject. And that's that when something like that happens, it's pretty devastating. I know, because it's like when you love someone, right? You've opened up, like all that shit that we protect in here and in here, all of it, we open those doors, right? And it's like we let that person in, thinking that they're just gonna be nice and they're gonna, dust it off in there and keep it clean and be lovely, and then they fucking, throw it to shit. So, uh, something that it's gonna sound a little cliche, but I want you to know that when somebody does do something like that to you, right? In general, right? One of the most important things to do if you want to rebuild your confidence, right, quickly, is to understand that that's a them problem.
mm,
It's not a you problem. It's a them problem. There's nothing wrong with opening up to people. Sure, like Adam said, when you go through these experiences, eventually the signs become obvious. But there are people that are fucking master manipulators out there, and sometimes they'll still get in there, and something like this will happen again, right? Hopefully it doesn't, right? But it's very important. It's very important to just understand that. That doesn't, like, look, I know they're gonna tell you a bunch of shit that you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong. But the more you understand about how toxic people, like Adam was talking about, the more you understand about how they work, which I know you did, because we talked about this, but the more you understand it, the more you realize, like, fuck, like that really was just a toxic person that wanted to suck every bit of fucking ounce out of me, right? So that's one thing, like one of the first things you do is just to say, look, I'm not wrong for fucking letting that person in. I'm going to take my licks. I'm going to learn my lesson, all right? Because that sounds cliche and obvious, but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, they spend days and days and days thinking, like, how the fuck could I let this happen? But don't ask that question. That's not the right question to ask.
mm-hmm.
You gave it a chance. You gave life a chance. You gave love a chance. Someone fucked up. That's a them problem, not a you problem.
Yeah. And don't
And
feel, yeah, go on, sorry.
No, I was gonna say something small actually, just like, and then it's like then it's when it comes to actually rebuilding that confidence for me, what I've done in the past in that similar situation is I always go back to things that I know make me feel great. If you don't have like a mental list of things that make you feel instantaneously great, fucking make it. Going to
Yeah.
the gym, going for a long ass run. You know what I mean? There's this garden in Montclair I go to. I sit there, I fucking stare at the lake, right, and there's a little horizon. Changes my whole world. These are little exercises that they're so simple, but I guarantee you most of you don't have that. You can't go to your head and you won't have 10 different things you can do right now that'll instantaneously make you feel better because you know
Yeah.
you're good at them, you know you're great, and it'll change your mood. Yep, sorry, I'm good.
No, it's the other thing I want to just touch on about that before we move on to the next topic. Don't feel like you owe that person anything. Okay? Right? You gave that person everything. You know? You were in a relationship with that person. You loved that person. You did things for that person. Now I want you to put it into a sort of like a 2-column system in your head, right? There's 2 columns in your brain. The one column is everything you did for that person, and the other column is everything they did for you, right? I can almost guarantee you this column's full and this column's empty because that's that person. That's what they're like. They take and they take and they take and they keep taking, and you don't even notice that they're taking, and they never fucking give back. Not once, right? So it's like pieces of your soul. They just keep pulling pieces of your soul out of your body until your soul is empty, okay? And then when they can't take any more, then they make it all about them, all right? And that's just toxic people in general, right? There are people in the world like that, okay? It may be because they were hurt by someone else, right? And they went the opposite direction of what they're supposed to, right? It may be because they've had a horrible upbringing. It may be because they're just a cunt, all right? There is ways in which these things manifest, okay? But that is not your fault, okay? Their past experiences and their past like stuff that they've been through in life, that is not your fault. And that is not your problem, okay? You cannot fix that. You are not part of that. You weren't there when that happened. Like, that is not your responsibility. Now, if that person brings everything and all this toxic bullshit to the relationship that you have now, been sucked into with them because you love this person, right? It is not on you to fix them, okay? It is not on you to be the answer to every problem. You're not the question to all solutions. Like, you can't put that on yourself, because that is the reason people can become depressed, is the reason people build things such as horrible anxiety, right? And it's the reason that all happens in the first place. You've got to find a way. You've got to find a way to get around that. And then as soon as you are out of that relationship, or you're above that relationship, or whatever it might be, you've again got to just start working on yourself again. You've got to start again. You've got to start again from square one. And
I want to.
it's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, because it was it's when you fall in love with someone, you care about someone like deeply. It's very hard to change that situation, but you've got to do what's best for you as well, because if you go down that toxic spiral and you end up at the bottom with them, your life's not going to be very fulfilling. It's going to be a waste. It really will be.
So, that was powerful. I want to piggyback off that because it actually segues into the next question that we had from Toaster.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second, and I see you, Rumple. I promise you, we're gonna thank you for sharing that, Rumple. That's good. I like these follow ups; they're great. Toaster said for a while, when he started working as an electrician, he had an old guy who treated him like shit, started destroying his confidence slowly, and it took months, but every day, he would just chip away a little bit, and eventually, he
Mm-hmm.
survived and he got fired. So, uh, Toaster, this is like, uh, this is near and dear to me, right? And it's a good segue. Adam was just talking about toxic people. This is near and dear to me because when I was like 18, 19, right? I grew up in an area where it just, people didn't really get to succeed at the highest levels. People kind of just settled and they were happy there. And I would say like the first, I mean, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's just say like the first 3 adults, people that I had come across and that I had met, that I had looked up to in some way. well, I was already expressing at that age that, hey, I'm kind of interested in this idea of sales. Like, it sounds fun. Like, people get paid to go, like, talk to people and convince them to, like, to see things their way and influence and buy, like, and we get paid for that. The first few people I met looked at me with almost like they gave me this look like, oh, he's cute. He's so cute. He doesn't know. He doesn't know yet. And they would tell me things like, oh, sales, good luck with that, man. Like, you're not going to make a career out of it. Like, sure, as a young kid, maybe, go have fun, but you'll see. And I heard that like a lot. Again, it was the environment that I was in, right? It almost was enough for me to never give it a chance because I thought like, shit, man, maybe I should listen, like, because it doesn't seem like anybody really believes that, that this is a good idea. And I want to have a good life. I don't want to invest into something that's not going to, pay the dividends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that I didn't, Toaster, because like that old guy, right? A lot of people in the neighborhood that I grew up in, right? They created ceilings for themselves, right? That nothing could break through, not confidence, not nothing. And that ceiling stayed with them. So they lived their lives, right? Building this internal toxicity and regret, like, fuck, I didn't do shit. I didn't do nothing. I didn't take those chances. I let somebody else tell me I couldn't do it. I convinced myself I couldn't do it. And that stays within them. All right. There's two kinds of people. There's people that could take that and be like, listen, young man, you fucking go for it, okay? Because when I was your age, I had a chance to do it and I could have done it. Don't be afraid of failure. They'll tell you all the things that we're telling you. And then there's those toxic people where they're so fucking pissed off at themselves and they don't know what to do with all that anger and regret that when they hear somebody else that's younger than them, they use that kind of like that elder authority, if you will,
Mm.
to just be a dick to you, just make it miserable because you don't deserve to be happy. You don't deserve to feel good. Like you need to fucking be like you need to feel what I felt, even though you had nothing to do with it. So it's important to realize that. It's important when you're getting that kind of feedback from somebody, from anybody, in anything that you do for a living, even from family, in anything. I'm not telling you to well, I guess I am asking you to be a little bit empathetic, but not for their benefit, for your benefit. Be empathetic and realize that something along their line, something in their life cycle didn't go the way that they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to process that. So they're taking that shit out on you. But this goes back to what we've been saying this whole podcast. It's a them problem.
Yeah.
It's not a you problem.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, like, just to add to it, like, sort of like, I understand it's a in a workplace when it comes to that sort of dynamic, it's also an sort of like an authoritarian sort of like, I'm higher on the pecking order than you, right? And so sometimes that can be the case as well. So like, I started my career as a mechanic, as an apprentice, like we all do, right? And obviously, I had the role of shit kicker. Like that was my job. Like people, without demoralizing anyone, of course, because that's, not workplace. But I got a lot of shit put on me. Like people would send me to buy things that didn't exist. And, that's all part of the process of stepping up in that sort of like trade culture, right? And you just got to be smarter than that. Like here's something, an example that I can use that I think it's a bit of a funny sort of example that people might actually really enjoy. So within my first 2 weeks of working, now you've got to remember I went to university before I became an apprentice, right? So I'm not like a year 10 student out of high school, who didn't do anything else and they're like, okay, I'm just going to go pick up a tool, right? Which is nothing wrong with that, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, I had done a lot of stuff. Like I'd finished my high school certificates. I graduated, I went to university, and then I started as an apprentice because I thought it would be a really solid job, right? That I could excel in because I was interested in how things worked. I wasn't particularly a car person, but I was interested in how cars work. So I was like, I want to learn how to fix one, right? When I started as an apprentice, they always presume the same. They just presume that you're just coming out of school and you're doing this and doing that and you know nothing and, blah, blah, blah. The first 2 weeks of my of me being an apprentice was the easiest first 2 weeks of my life, right? Because people would send me to do things. And because I was smart enough to know that that was bullshit, I would take the advantage of the time they sent me away to do stuff. So like if someone said to me, go down to the hardware store and buy me a long weight, right? That was always the first one. And now I'm not an idiot. I'm like, long weight it doesn't exist. Like it's not a tool. It's just someone trying to send me down to buy something and make me look like an idiot, right? So what I did was I'd say, oh, well, I need money to go buy it, right? And they go, yeah, and they give me like $20. I go, okay, no worries. I just go to Subway and buy my lunch. Like I went to Subway, I bought my lunch, I come back eating a sub. Like an hour later, they'd be like, did you get the tool I wanted? It's like, doesn't exist. And they'd be like, did you ask? Oh, yeah, I asked. It's all good. Where's my change? Oh, no, I bought it. I bought the tool. Like, where's the tool? I was like, well, it doesn't exist. And so we just play this game with people, right? That's a bit of a funny story for you. But yeah, look, I just take advantage of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you're younger and you're like, I don't have any money for lunch. This person just give me $20 and to go buy a tool that doesn't exist because they think they're trying to embarrass me. Like, I'm just going to go buy Subway. Like, you know what I mean? Like turn it. It's like, but this is the thing, like when you start at the bottom of a company, when you're starting at the base, yes, it is important to listen. It's important to learn. It's important to absorb as much as you can. It's important to do the things that people ask you to do, and you know, like learn the everything. Like you are putting trust in those people to teach you correctly. Okay, that is all part of it. But sniff out the bullshit as well, and have the confidence to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna have a sandwich. Like you're an idiot. Like, do you know what I mean? You don't have to always be like, I don't know anything, I'm innocent, help me. Like you don't have to be that person in that position. So that's the same thing as what you were saying back there, is like, you know, this guy is like belittling you and all this kind of stuff in this job. But if you're confident in the job, who gives a shit what that person says? You know what I mean? Unless they're your boss or your superior or whatever it might be, and they're telling you to do this, they're still paying you. Who cares? Just do it, right? Don't get upset about it. Don't worry about it. Like if they're trying to belittle you, you're just like, well, I don't get paid for this. Just walk away and start something else. Like don't let it get to you. Seriously, because like if you're good at what you do anyway, it doesn't matter what that person thinks. You're getting paid to do a job. You're not getting paid to put up with their shit. Okay? And have the confidence to say that. And you know what? I can almost guarantee you 99% of the time, if you stand up to that person and say, don't be rude to me, I'm doing my job, they will leave you alone, because that is too difficult, right? It's too difficult to make fun of someone who doesn't react to stuff, right? It's the same in high school. If a bully comes up to you and starts bullying you, if you pay no attention to them and you walk away, and they will do everything they can to try and attract your attention and trying to get you to feel uncomfortable, whatever. It's like, don't let it get to you. They'll give up. They'll give up on you. They'll go to the next person. Or they go to the next, whatever it might be. And you know what? We all know they're not going to make anywhere in life. Like, you know, just think of the bigger picture, you know? Be confident.
The irony in that is that you'll build confidence by doing that. That's
correct.
The irony kills me, because it's like what I was gonna say is like, even if it bothers you, all right, hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play poker for a little bit. Let it fucking bother you. Look, emotions, you don't have to show them. You got to feel them.
Yeah.
Feel it. Don't show it.
That's right.
Like you said, without the reaction, right? Without the reaction, no, it's remarkable how amazing that is. It's fucking remarkable. And then when you see that it's actually working, ironically, you build confidence. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know, they're that's it. I'm not getting bullied. I'm not getting bothered.
Yeah, when you get enough confidence in that too, you'll be able to lead them. You know what I'm saying? So like, what'll happen is whoever's in charge of the paychecks, right? They're the people that you should be projecting on, right? Don't worry about people working around you. Don't worry about trying to impress them or do whatever. They're not the ones that write the check, okay? The person that writes the check for you at the end of the day is the person you want to impress. That's the person you want to do everything they ask you to do. But at the same time, just use personal preference on that. Like, you know, like Toasty, if you get paid to push a broom around, you push that broom around 110%, like all day, every day, man. And you fucking sweep like you've never swept before. And you know what? You won't be sweeping for long. You know, people notice, and the people that don't notice, if you push that broom around for a year and you're you know doing everything right, and your boss comes to you and says all you're ever gonna do is push a broom around, get another job, man. Like, you know, don't let that stop you. You know, but now you're a professional fucking broom pusher. All right, so you got that on your resume. Like, you just got to take something out of everything. Like,
Dude, you said something that's so fucking true. Look, I want to preface this by saying this. We know it's easier said than done, right? We like meaning like if you're doing a job where it's like, you know, you're cleaning and you're sweeping with a broom, but you got visions of doing, you know, greater things, like it's hard. It's hard
yeah,
and get that. But if you can keep your eye on the prize and you can do your very best at that, meaning that you can appreciate that, hey, this is a step in the process. And I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
fucking delay, like Adam said, put the noise aside, put the fucking pride aside for a little bit. This is a step in the process. Do it your very best. I promise you, just like Adam said a moment ago, people will notice. People will notice, and who knows what'll happen. But things like that do happen, where the people who are paying you will even go up to you and say, "Listen, dude, not for nothing, man, but like you're pretty fucking amazing. Like you have you ever tried working at this place or that place? I'll make you a letter of recommendation. We're not firing you. It's just that we don't feel right holding you back where you are." That shit happens. That shit does happen. When you're able to put all that stuff aside and really just give it your best at something, regardless of what it is, everybody notices, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
all do. And then people want to help.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, when you're confident in what you're doing in your job, you're confident to ask for a pay rise. You're confident to ask for more responsibility, right? So if you are, you know, so say when you first start sweeping, it takes you an hour, right? And that's the whole shift or whatever. Let's just simple example. Say it takes you an hour to sweep and you only work an hour, right? The more you sweep and the more you do that routine, the faster you're going to get at it, right? So say now it takes you 30 minutes. For the other 30 minutes, what are you going to do? Sweep again? No, you're going to ask for more responsibilities. But you know what? Having the confidence to ask for more responsibility also comes with the confidence to ask for more money. Okay? So like you're going, well, if I'm sweeping, right? And then I'm floor cleaning, right? And I'm still working the same hour, but I'm doing double the amount of work, why shouldn't you get paid more, right? People who are good bosses or good company owners or reasonable payers, like they will see that, okay? They'll probably approach you before you approach them if you're doing more just off your own fucking bat, okay? If you show confidence in doing that and you do extra and you don't ask for anything in return and then you go, hey, by the way, you know, I've done all this extra stuff, because people have benchmarks, right? The benchmark is you do the sweeping for an hour. If you've set the benchmark to sweeping for half an hour and doing floor cleaning for half an hour, it's moved up, right? So now they always expect you to do that, right? They always expect you to do that half an hour and do that half an hour, right? But then when you come to them and you go, okay, I'd like to get paid more and do this, and if they say no, right, you go back to doing the sweeping for an hour, okay? And then they notice, they're like, oh shit, he was doing the floor clean before. Why isn't he doing it now? It's like, well, he didn't want to pay him anymore, all right? If you have the confidence to then do that, you show your boss, look, I'm worth more to you. You're showing them you're worth more to them, okay? I'm going to tell you, before we get off topic, I'm going to tell you a little story. And I have so many fucking stories. This is why I love doing podcasts. But I'm going to tell you a little story as to how I got my first pay rise when I was working as a technician, right? When I was working as a technician at Audi, I was sitting there thinking to myself, look, I don't want to leave this job. I really like this company that I'm working for at the time. And I was thinking to myself, like, but I do deserve to get paid more. Because I had found out through word of mouth, because people who get paid more than you, I don't know what it is about those people. They're always excited to tell you about it, right? So other people in the workshop who are like doing the exact same job, if not less, they're like, oh, I get paid more than you. It's like, it's good for you, I guess. Like, and how the fuck do you know how much I get paid? Like, this is always my questions. Like, how did you find that out? Like, but anyway, so I discovered that I was getting paid less than some, but I was doing more work when it came to more technical stuff. So some people are changing oil, I'm rebuilding engines. Like, it's a different job, right? But I'm getting paid less. I'm like, this doesn't add up to me. This is not okay. So I said to myself, I go, instead of just going in and asking my boss for a pay rise, I was going to give him a reason to give me a pay rise, right? And that was the confidence to do that. This is why this is an important story. So like I had the confidence to go into my boss and ask for a pay rise, but I had the confidence also to back it up, okay? So I went into him and I said to my boss, I said, I want you to come out and see what I'm doing. He goes, okay. I came out and I'm very meticulous when I rebuild things. I have everything labeled, okay? Everything lined up where it's supposed to be, like everything just in places. It's like if it didn't come back the next day and someone had to put it back together, they could put it back together because everything is where it should be, right? That's sort of the way I worked. And sometimes it would take a little bit longer to do things, but you never fucking lose anything, and there's never a bolt left over. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't understand, like, as a mechanic, if there's a bolt left over at the end of a job, I can't sleep. Okay, I have trouble because I'm thinking to myself, what did I miss? Like, if someone was to add a bolt, that's even more tilting. It's like, where did this come from? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but because I knew the engine so well, I knew where everything went, right? Now, I said to my boss, I said, I do these every other day, right? Everything's laid out, labeled, everything's ready to go. I said, I want to get paid more money to do my job. But instead of asking you and just expecting you to give it to me, I'm going to show you how and why I should get it. And he said, how? And I said, you see all those bolts? See how they're all labeled and they're all in separate things? They're like, I gave him a bucket and I said, I want you to drag every single bolt on the bench into this bucket. All right? I want you to drag every single bolt and every single piece and part into this bucket, okay? And I want you to put it all in there and I want you to fucking shuffle it around, okay? And I'm going to put this engine back together and there's not going to be a bolt left over and you're going to give me a pay rise, right? That's self-confidence, okay? Because I've done the job 100 fucking times, okay? And I know where every bolt goes. I knew the torque settings in my brain. I didn't even need to look up how tight things had to be on the diagram or the way they had to be tightened because I did it so many times and I was so confident in the way that I did it. My self-confidence drove me to know that I can do this easily. Like, I'm not going to fuck this up because I know how to do it, okay? Because I'm confident in doing it. So I said that and I got a pay rise because I put it back together and it was regardless of the situation. He said to me, when I came back in, I said, engine's running, it's gone, customer's taking the car, everything went well, nothing left over. And he goes, I knew that would happen anyway. Because my boss isn't an idiot. He was a good boss, right? And he said to me, I knew that would happen. I had already strung up the paperwork for your pay rise already. And prior to you even finishing the car. And I said, why? And he said, because I knew just your confidence in saying that you could do it. And I knew you could do it. You've done it a million times already. Like, you didn't need to do that, but you wanted to do that in order to show me that you were able. And he understood what I did. He understood, like, it wasn't like some sort of like mind trick to him. He's a businessman. He knew exactly why I did it and the reason. And he was just like, I appreciate the confidence and I appreciate the fact that you're very good at your job and you do deserve to get paid more and you're going to get paid more. And the pay rise that I got was actually much bigger than I was expecting. And it was all because of that little extra step I took in order to guarantee it. You know what I mean? So people don't expect things to be handed to you. Work hard, be confident in what you do, get good at it, and people will notice. They always do.
You did something that no one else did. You know what I mean? When it comes to, and look, this is like, it's a rule. It's just a rule. All right. If you want to get something right that you haven't gotten or that no one else has gotten,
Yeah.
you got to do something that you haven't done and that no one else has done. I don't care who you are or what you do for a living. If you really pay attention to what it is that you do, right? If you want to get to that next level and what you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
if you pay close enough attention to all the different things that somebody does, right? If you pay close enough attention, you can identify different things that you can do that nobody else does that could separate yourself from the rest of the pack. It's just, I could do that today if I wanted to, right? And what I do for a living, I haven't done it in a long time because I'm just doing my career. But if I wanted to go to that next level for any reason, the first thing I would do is think about what am I not doing today, right? That I should be doing to get to that next level, right? And then do it. Then we're not going to talk about the confidence to get there because that's a whole nother conversation. But that's what you did.
Yeah.
You were, you had that comment. You did something that no one else would do. That, and the guy knew you were going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you just live that way, like when you just live that way, things like that happen. You know what I mean? Where like Adam still goes through the process, right? He still goes
Mhm.
like he doesn't expect it to be handed to him. He went. He's like, I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna get it done. I got the brain power. I got the routine down.
Yeah.
But he's already like he's already viewed as that kind of a person. So when you have that situation, you get stuff like that where the guy's like, I already had the paperwork for you. You know what I mean? But you got to, but you have to get there. So there's the journey there is also a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody could get to that point. You just got to follow certain fundamentals.
Well, it's the projection of expectation as well, right? So, like, what do you expect in yourself as well? So, you ask the question, like, you know, if you're going to go in, like, say, use the same example again. If you're going to go into your boss and ask for a pay rise, right? What do you expect the first thing is that he's going to say or she's going to say? And you've got to have an answer to that. Okay? So if you when you get, if anybody in this chat or anybody in this podcast has ever gone into a room for a pay rise, you know the first question that they're going to ask is why. Okay, why do you deserve it? Why do you think you deserve it? That's going to be the first question. Have the confidence to understand that. You know, have the confidence to have that question already. You have the answer in your head already. You know, and if you don't have the answer in your head, then you don't deserve it. So you got to think to yourself like, I just want a pay rise because I want more money. Well, that's not an excuse. It's not a reason to get it. You're not going to get a pay rise just because you want more money. You know, if your boss sees you go into the office and says, "Why do you deserve a pay rise?" Because I want more money. They'll probably fire you. Okay, because they're like, "Fuck this lazy bastard." Like this person just wants more money because they're doing their job. It's like, no, you don't deserve that. If I was a boss and someone came into me and said, "Because I want more money," I'd fire them. I would fire them. I would say, go find another job. Because I don't need that. I don't want that kind of like, comfort mentality when it comes to
Yeah,
whatever I'm doing. Like, I want someone to work because they want to work, because they enjoy the job. You've never had, like, if you've ever been in a job that you didn't like, right? You do the very minimum, right? You do the minimum in that job. If you don't like the environment you're in, you do the minimum, right? If you just do whatever you have to do to get home. You just want to get paid and go home. You just want to get paid and go home. You need to find a new job. No matter how good that
yeah,
job is, no matter how comfortable you are in that job, find a new job. Because not only will that affect you mentally, right? It'll affect everything. It'll breed toxicity in your life. It'll tear your confidence down because obviously you're in that environment every day, right? It's not healthy for anyone. So if you're in a job that you're miserable with, right? There's always another way. Always. People are like, well, I can't find another job. Well, I can't do this. Plan for it. Okay. While you're in that job and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, all right, I'm in this job right now. I have comfort, I have money, I have this going on, but I hate this job. Use that time to find another job. And when you have that other job cemented, that's when you go. Don't be dumb about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, but if you are actively like sad in your job or actively like you don't enjoy what you're doing, and then you are proactively trying to find something else before you decide to bite the bullet and say see you later, that's what you need to be doing, right? You need to have the confidence to be able to do both. So when you find that new job and you're ready to go and you've signed that paperwork, that's when you quit the other one. Don't do it the other way around, because a lot of people will just be like, fuck it mentality. It doesn't get you anywhere. It actually hurts you. So like sometimes I say that. Sometimes I'm like, fuck this. And I just, finish whatever I'm doing. Then I put myself in another situation where I have to work harder to do other things. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? I should have just put up with it for that little bit longer in order to find something better and do it properly. And like you learn doing that in life. Like I find, like Ken, you could probably relate to this. Like I find with jobs and stuff like that, it's always the same thing. Like you can't just quit a job and then expect to find the best job the next day. You have to go through the motions. It's a step-by-step thing, right?
percent.
Yeah.
The like so it just boils down to what you want. So we talked about before, right? Like being honest with yourself, right? if you've been dishonest for a long time, all right, let it go. Start being honest with yourself today. If
Mhm.
something doesn't matter to you, okay, you're not going to enjoy it. Remember, so you said before it's about comfort, but it's also about entitlement. And in my opinion, like these are feelings, and these are like mannerisms that people can get over. Like step one is don't. I know too many people, and some people are people that I love a lot, but they have this mentality like, oh, it's just who I am. No, it's fucking not. That's who you are today. Okay. But be honest with yourself. If something doesn't mean enough to you, if you could take it or leave it, like Adam said, challenge yourself to find something more. Take that chance. It's okay. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You'll get there, I promise. The that whole topic we beat to a dead horse, but hopefully you guys saw value in that. Rumble, we didn't forget about you. I'm trying. I'm looking back here at the if you're still here, can you maybe? I fell for someone when I was younger. It didn't work out and destroyed me over time and stuff. I got over it mainly due to me never having to see them. I forgot about them, but it's not that simple when you have to see and speak to them every day because you have kids. So you you were with somebody. Now, how long ago was that? It's just because that's going to kind of really depend. The answer and like what feels like how long is that? Was that like a recent thing where you were with somebody for a long time? They weren't who you thought they were, and that's it. It's over. But now you got to see that person all the time because you have kids. Kind of curious because I want to be able to uh
Yeah, I look
you know sh-
for me personally, this is probably outside of my purview, but I know Ken has more experience in this than me, obviously, because you have kids. But for me, being someone who's single who doesn't have kids, I honestly like I can't imagine that situation. I guess my only like 2 cents I could put in that is just do what's best for the children. Like that would be my advice.
So yeah, what's funny is not having kids. That's actually still the best advice.
Yeah,
You know what
because
I mean? Like
they're the most
that
important things, right? Like kids are the most
yeah.
important things in life. Like
So the irony here, right? I'm not gonna get too into like into my situation, but I will say this: Rumple, our situations aren't really as different as you may think, regardless of how things seem. Um, Continue doing what you do because I know him personally, and I know he's a great father, and he sets that example, right? Continue to do that, right? And then do everything else that we talked about before in terms of the relationship as well. Don't blame yourself for anything. Let that person feel the way they feel. You keep doing what you do, which you have a great job. You got a career. You're living your life. All the things that you feel, like the downside, the failure aspect, all that stuff, that's all normal. Feel it. Allow yourself to feel it, but make sure that you carry out those mental exercises that we talked about before and continue rebuilding that confidence, which I'm sure you've probably already done. But that's,
yeah.
I don't think that there's anything much more outside of that that you could do. I feel like he's kind of
Well, I
really doing
think
a lot of things he
just
should.
just to add to it slightly in respect to what we're talking about, if you continue to work on yourself and you continue to work like with yourself, like that'll project onto your children. So like your confidence in your ability to live life and your confidence in doing everything in life and you being the person that you are, uh, like you've got to do your best to project that onto your children. So like your values, your morals, your everything you believe in and everything you do in life, your children absorb like a sponge. Okay, so like whatever you're doing, whenever you're doing now, it'll go the same way for your ex partner. It'll be the same thing. They will absorb what they do as well. Okay. So what you got to do is you got to set the example, right? So when they see like kids are smart, okay? Kids aren't fucking idiots, all right? They see things, they know what's going on. They're not oblivious to anything. They see everything. All right? Now I don't have kids, but I know I have nephews and cousins and stuff, and they see everything. They always talk to me about things. I'm like, how did you, like, but they observe everything, right? Now, if you're promoting great behavior and good confidence, and you're also promoting good lifestyle and healthy choices, all this kind of stuff, they're gonna see that, all right? They're also going to see your partner's toxic behaviors or whatever it might be, but they're going to be able to differentiate that when they get older because they'll see both and they will make the decision as to what they replicate. Now, again, you have to give kids the opportunity, I think, to learn those kind of things, because they're going to learn it eventually anyway, from whether it be from that or not. But like, you need to just explain it to them, like, and say, hey, look, mum and dad, we don't get on, we don't see eye to eye. This is how I live my life. This is how they live their life. But we still love you, right? Whatever that chat needs to go down. Now, I'm not a parent, right? But like, that makes sense to me. Like, I'm looking at it from a perspective of me being a kid, right? Like, if that was to be the case for me, I would expect the examples to be made by my parents, right? And from those examples, I would learn. So, again, like, kids are sponges for everything: knowledge, insight, emotions, everything. So just all you got to do is you just got to protect your kids, but also you've got to be straight with them.
At the end of the day, that's the most powerful thing you could do is try to explain to them, like, what's going on between mommy and daddy is mommy and daddy, okay? But no matter what, I always love you. I am going to do everything for you. Anything that happens outside of that it's not your fault. That's one thing that's really important. I I've had to have that conversation, with my own kids. And I tell them that no matter what, I love you. Everything that I do is for you, and I love you. And anything else outside of that has nothing to do with you. I promise you. All right, just focus on daddy's love. Anything that happens outside of that, that's just daddy. Daddy makes too many mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best you can do at this point. You know what I mean? At some point down the road, they're gonna connect the dots. I promise you that. And I'm only promising you that because I've gone through that. And even though my kids are still young, to a degree, they're seeing it already. And there've been some massive changes. But yeah, so hopefully what Adam and I shared helps you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the just like the the confidence in general, in terms of like overall, like, hey, look, if I just generally want to just kind of like build confidence, but I don't really get much motivation from people, and I do get a lot of criticism and that. I talked about this, I believe, last week, or one of the podcasts that Adam and I had. Could have even been that first one from a year ago. Bring about the so dry. When it comes to receiving like feedback, right? Or you took a test, you did something, a certification, anything, right? And you fall short, right? One of the things that you can begin doing, and try it, because I challenge anybody to tell me that you already do that. I really do. And it's not that, no, you're not great, or you're not this, you're not that. Just in general, most people aren't aware of kind of just looking at things this way. There's growth mentality, and then there's stable mentality. That's who we are as humans. Something happens, there's a letdown. You look at it, you could either respond by saying, oh shit, man, I wasn't expecting it. Fuck, I can't believe this, and blah blah blah. You go on for weeks, for months, who knows? And then there's people that can go through that very same experience, okay, and say, ah, wasn't expecting that. But I'm gonna learn something here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna learn something here. This is an opportunity for me to learn. Okay. So now that's just something basic, okay? If you can start to do things like that across the board, right? Pay attention. Just pay attention. Pay attention to how you feel. And I'm speaking to everybody about this. Pay attention tomorrow. Pay attention. If you feel like uneasy or a little let down or pissed off about something, pay attention, and start you know kind of doing that. Like, why is it, why am I upset about this? Is this something that I could learn from? It's so simple, I promise you. But if you apply it across the board, you're going to start you're going to slowly build confidence in your ability to handle letdowns. Another
Yeah.
thing
Mm-hmm.
is mantra. Create a mantra. When I work out, right, at the gym, whether I'm running, lifting, or whatever it is, I always whisper stronger, 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 because I know that mind over body. I know that there's always a few extra reps. There's always a few extra miles. There's always a little bit that you can push yourself. How many people in the chat have a personal belief statement? Something that they, when they're in the toughest of toughest situations, they recite a sentence, a paragraph, whatever it is, and it instantaneously elevates their mental strength. And look, most people don't. Most, like in the 90%, like most people don't. But that's another thing that you can do to you got to figure out what it means to you, what moves you. Is it strength? Is it endurance? Is it intelligence? Figure it out. Create a strong belief statement.
Yeah,
These are all basic things.
no, that's a great idea. I'm gonna be devil's advocate on that. Okay, so if okay, so for me, right, if someone was to, you know how people write like things to build them up during the day on like little sentences around the house, like you put it on the fridge or whatever like that. I think that's stupid. Okay, it's fucking dumb. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Now, most people will be like, but it helps me. It helps me. If it helps you, that's good. But, okay, as someone who reads that kind of stuff all the time, like you read it on a website or you read it on the front of a yoga studio or you read it in a gym and you just go, shut the fuck up, man. Like, honestly, like, I'll be honest, like, I read that kind of stuff and I'm like, you probably don't even believe in what you're fucking saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get, like, one of the things you could test people on this, right? And you'd be like, say you walk into somewhere and it's like, we're all about positivity, this and that and the other. It's just like, are you though? Like, I like, again, devil's advocate, okay? This is going against everything that this person, like, or what we just said, right? Just as a little bit of a mindset change, because a lot of people, right? A lot of people, I know there's at least one or two in the chat, and myself included, who read this kind of shit written on walls and stuff. It's ridiculous, okay? It's fantasy fairy bullshit, okay? And it's not going to help you. Like, you're just reading that sentence is not going to make you do shit, okay? It's not going to put you in a good mindset. Like, for me, if I read that sentence, okay, and I'm someone who is confident, I am someone who does things, like, I get things done. I read that, I just laugh. I laugh because I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, that's not something, do you know what I mean? That's not something that we need just written on the wall. It's not going to help me, okay? So I'm just kind of like...
So here, so let me so that it's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything to you though. You know
No,
what I
it
mean?
doesn't.
But like dude, man, dude, the Hallmark cards, like, oh
Oh,
god, dude,
yeah,
you
it's
know
just
what?
all...
Dude, believe me, like it's those kinds of things are very fucking annoying to me, which is why I said you create your own mantra. Because when you create your own mantra, you're creating something, you're creating it because you know yourself. You're not
Yeah.
fucking doing what everybody else does and going out there, oh, that's cute. Live, laugh, love, right? What Toaster said.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, fuck off.
If
No,
I
dude,
if
like,
I see a live, laugh, love in the background of someone's Tinder profile, I'm swiping left. Okay.
so So, without look, without me being, mean
Not
about
being...
my
yeah.
about my wife, like there's some shit around the house like that, and it's
Yeah.
like, so I get what you're saying because I feel like that little cringe, like, oh fuck you, like you even know what that means, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't, I wouldn't recommend, like, like fucking going out there and like looking for something like, that makes sense, that's mine. When it comes to just mantras in general, so like I kind of only have a couple, right? But I use them a lot. It's
Mhm.
got to be something that works for you. It's got to be like for me when I say stronger, right? uh it means something to me because a lot of my life has been overcoming the impossible. It's been overcoming the odds from getting a master's level job with no college degree. I did that because I believed I could do that because I went into saying I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm faster, and it
Yeah.
worked for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I agree with the devil's advocate, and I'm just clarifying on what I mean by it is,
Yeah.
don't go like don't go, like, fucking, you should go on TikTok and Instagram. It's like, I think the same thing. I'm like, every one of you fucking people are virtue signaling. Sorry, I know I should gotta be careful with that word, but they are. They're all like, oh my god, look at me. I'm so like above everything.
Yeah.
I'm so cool. Yeah, positive, positive, positive. Fuck off. Look, come up with a mantra that moves you. If you could say a sentence and it makes you feel smarter and
Yeah.
stronger, it's good. You know? But don't do it because somebody made a cool Instagram video and they look smart and
The other thing too is your sentence or your mantra or whatever it might be. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be
no.
something extensive. My personally, and I'm just thinking about it while you're talking about it, like, because like I know you have your mantra of be strong. Be strong. My mantra in everything I do in life, the first thing I ask myself when I'm doing something is why.
Yeah.
That's the first thing and the last thing that goes through my head. Like if I watch something on TV, I'm like, instead of watching, so this is an insight to Adam's brain, okay? If I'm watching a TV show, I'm watching it from behind the camera in my brain. So like when I'm watching a TV show, I'm watching it, I'm like, and they do a scene or something, I'm like, and I think to myself, oh, it must have taken a lot to do that scene. I'm not thinking like this is a great TV show. My brain works in weird fucking ways. It's like, what did they put into that in order to make that? Like, how did they create that scene? Like, which way was the camera facing? Like, was it? I don't understand why I think like that, but that's the way I think like that. I think like I see an advert on TV, and I'm like, and this guy says something really corny. I'm like, how many takes do you reckon he had to say that in order to make that sound believable? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I think. Like, and this is how I think. Like, I can't just watch things for what they are. I question everything, okay? Now, that's both good and bad, right? In some ways, that's really, really good because, like, it's like motivations of why people do things. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, if someone's doing something, you're like, I wonder why they do that. Like, I wonder why that's something they believe is gospel. Like, and I question it because I'm like, well, what brought them to that point? Like, how did, this is just the way I am. Like, I can't change it, right? And so, like, then sometimes it's really bad because you're trying to trust someone to do something or help you with something, and you go, why are you helping me, right? And that's the opposite of what you're trying to achieve, because you're like, I should trust this person, but why should I trust this person? It's constant. It's like a battle I have with my internal monologue of my brain, but it also gets me through a lot of really cool stuff. So, like, I think to myself, I don't want to go to the gym today. It's like, but why? Like, why? Because you're too tired? It's like, listen to your body. Like, if you still have the energy, you could do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you can just get up and just walk there, I'll give myself an option. I'll get dressed. Okay. So I'll put my trainers on, my shorts on, and my t-shirt and everything, and I put my hair up, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, and I still haven't even left the house, right? But I've made a step in the right direction. I still might not go, right? Like, I still might just sit there in my trainers and like go on my computer. Like, but I then think to myself, why are you doing this? You're already dressed, man. You're already dressed. So why can't you just so I'm like, okay, I'll just walk out of the house and stand outside for a second. And I'm like, well, you're already halfway there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to take the first step in order to make the rest of it seem much easier. Like, I know that's a roundabout way of saying, projection of confidence, but like, it's true. It's all very true. Like, so use the mantra that you decide on, right? Whether it be strong or questioning things. It's okay to do that. It's just a thought process. Like, but it could send you in the right direction.
Yeah.
100%.
Whatever process you come up with to get you there, if it works, if it got you there, do it. For me, it's a word. I don't even. All I say is stronger.
Yeah.
I say stronger, and I immediately. It's as if like I've given like I watched a 1 hour Tony Robbins video, but that doesn't. It's not going to work for everybody. You know what I mean? Like what Adam just talked about. That whole process. It's fucking hilarious to me, right? But it gets into the gym. He figured it out. He's got a process, dude. Right? Like, yeah, it's.
Well, some days I just want to go, right? So I'm already half dressed and I'm already out the door because I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go now because I've got the motivation right this second. I'm going. Like, I don't care if it's fucking 5 a.m. or 10:30 at night. I'm going. If I want to go and I feel the need to go, I'm going. Right?
Yeah, you're probably like that most of the time. But that's the stuff that we're talking about though. This is for those days where you just there's no party that wants to go.
Yeah.
You have to do something special, like the process you go through, right? Like reciting something to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We've I like how you tied that back to confidence because I'm like we've gone like
We do this though. We do this.
yeah.
This is why. Okay, and this is the same reason why we're doing this together. Okay, this is the same reason why we're doing this whole series in the first place. Is because we lead each other into the next thing that we want to talk about quite easily, as if it's a natural progression of conversation. So like we could be having this conversation offline, and it would be just as much just as enjoyable as if we have it online. So like this is just the way we talk to each other.
We had to stop ourselves before because we were just kind of doing a little cliff note prep, and we realized we were going on, and we're like, we should probably save this, right?
Yeah.
We were like, this is what we do, just have a conversation. But that's all good. Hopefully, people, And by the way, like the devil's advocate challenging like this. That in my when you have a podcast and you're going at it from two different people, as much as we do see things similarly, it's important to play devil because guess what? I agree with what Adam said regarding the mantra. It's fucking true. I didn't realize that that it wasn't clear in my explanation, but by Adam bringing that up, I agree. Don't I'm not saying just fucking go grab a mantra because it's cute. The hot girl or the hot guy on Instagram is doing it. It must be great. So that's what we're trying to do too. You know what I mean? Like we want to challenge ideas, whether they're our own or they're coming from you guys. And hopefully at the end of the series, we all grow, right? You guys, us.
That's right. That's right.
A whole new slew of people came in from your from your community. I noticed.
I see that. I want to say thank you for Cody for being here as well. Koshi, good to see you. And also your profile picture makes me laugh. Boady, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you too. And Maya, of course, always a pleasure. Everyone who comes in from the Zilla Patch, I'm more than excited to see you guys. As you guys know, the streaming has dropped off due to extenuating circumstances, but we will be back. And we will be back bigger and better than ever. As you can see, this overlay that I've created today actually is a new overlay that I put together today that I was trying to get ready for this podcast. And the dinosaur that you see down there is our power dinosaur. Okay, so like when we have the Zilla Patch dinosaur, which you guys know very well, the green dino, which you can see in the chat box there. But this is the power dinosaur. So this guy represents everything confidence. He represents everything power. He represents the way you want to feel. He's cute as fuck too, right? So you don't have to be. You can still be cute and powerful. You know what I'm saying? So and. This is the one that we're going to use for when we talk about things that are confidence building. For when we talk about things that are a little bit outside of what you would normally talk about, this is going to represent that. All right. When we do something on stream, okay, that is going to be a little bit outlandish, a little bit crazy. Because me, sometimes I do things that are a little bit crazy, a little bit outlandish, a little bit silly. This is our alternate ego right here. All right. And I'm telling you right now, it's not the only one. It's not the only one. I've got so many things planned for you guys in the future when it comes to streaming, when it comes to content, when it comes to all this kind of stuff. You have no fucking idea. It is actually I've been working on it for the last few weeks. I've had a lot of time. I've had a lot of processing time when it comes to making new things, being off the platform. And I'll be honest with you, I appreciate it so much because it has given me opportunities to do other things that I never thought I'd have time to do. And I'm creating a better way of doing things. Rather than a different way, it's going to be a better way, right? And you guys are going to all benefit from that creativity time. Also, a cheeky shout out to Smoop. If you guys know Smoop from my chat and the Discord as well, she's the one that drew it. So it's beautiful. She's drawn a few different bits and pieces for me, and that's one of her. That was one of her creative designs. I didn't ask for that. She just made it. She just thought it was cool, and she sent it to me. And I said, "This is probably the greatest thing everyone's ever sent to me." So that is our power dinosaur. I love it. I think it's great. What do you think?
I personally think I love it. I love the whole idea. So interestingly enough, this so earlier on, I think some of my folks they probably kind of went off to bed already because it's
Yep.
1 in the morning. But I'll reach out. I'll let them know that I appreciated their support. Like that really means a lot to me. I feel the same way about the community as you
Mm-hmm.
do. Like I just love them. You know what I mean? Care about them. I want to continue to grow with them. So for you guys who maybe don't know me as well, kind of going through a similar process as Adam is in terms of like just rebuilding in a lot of different ways. I've had different experiences, but I, as much as I share similar ideas as Adam, he still inspires me. So like one of the things I told him over the last month is the way he took adversity and immediately turned it into opportunity was fucking phenomenal. And then
Mm.
we had that podcast where we loved it, we enjoyed it so much, and that podcast led to a conversation that eventually said, "Hey, why don't we try this?
Yeah.
Why don't we try the empowerment podcast?" And for those of you who don't know, um, Adam did say earlier, this is part of a series, right? Because when we're talking about empowerment, confidence is, small process. Confidence actually, the reason why we chose confidence first is because although it's a part of kind of just the overall empowerment idea, as we go into like perspective and transformation, and there's a whole slew, all of it rolls around empowerment. I feel like confidence, we feel like confidence is kind of in all of it,
Yeah.
whether you're transforming, whether you're perspective, rebuilding, what have you. So this is very exciting. It's very exciting for us, and the next couple of months are going to be a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all.
100%. Oh wait, I mean, I guess in conclusion to the podcast, we'll wrap it up for you guys now. But at the end of the day, the most important thing I want you guys to take from this is exactly that. What you take from it. Okay? We are doing this from our own perspectives, and also our own confidence building and what we've been through in life, and we build on that, and we project confidence now and it comes naturally because we all started somewhere, right? No one just starts with confidence. Okay? You have to create it. You have to build it. You have to grow it in whatever way it is. Okay. So whatever you guys get out of this series and whatever you guys get out of these podcasts, that's what you're going to get out of it. Okay. Whatever it is. All right. It's important to you. Okay. Some people will have confidence already and they hear this and it might motivate them to do something else. Some people don't have any confidence and it might motivate them to try and create the steps in order to build that self-confidence that they need to achieve whatever it is in life that they're looking forward to achieving. So that's the purpose of it. We talk about this kind of thing because we enjoy talking about this kind of thing. And, again, it's the whole thing. Like if you enjoy what you do and you put effort into things you enjoy. So it'll create something great, right? And I feel like everybody's going to take it in a different way, but it's all going to make sense towards the end. So if you guys missed any of the podcast, you will be able to catch it on YouTube. It will be there in VOD. It will be ready for you guys to watch whenever you need to watch it. If you want to watch the series from the start again, you can always go back to the start and watch it again. Grasp whatever it is that you find, okay? Take what you will from this, all right? I want you to nitpick it. I want you to take notes. I want you to do whatever it is that makes you feel better about it. And hopefully we helped you in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. The I'm sure you're doing this too on your side. But I actually have an empowerment channel. Adam and I we talked about this. Like as we're going through these over the next few months. Want to hear from the community. What obviously everybody today participated a lot. That was fucking. I love that. I really do.
Hmm.
Like the people they opened up. They talked about their own personal stories, but I'm going to encourage the community, both communities, to as Adam and I begin to reach out and ask you questions and want your feedback around some topics that can be a little bit intimate. Have some confidence in us. Share some stories. Tell us a little bit more than what we know,
Mm-hmm.
and just trust us. Build confidence in us to take it and create some great content out of it.
Correct. 100%.
Right.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate everyone coming across. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna do this weekly, or are we gonna do this bi-weekly? What do you want to do? I leave it up to you.
So, all right. Well, if you're gonna leave it up to me, so initially, guys, we were gonna do this bi-weekly only because we wanted to be safe. But to be quite honest with you, this one subject we could probably go another 4 hours with, and everything that we're gonna talk about is so closely knit together
Mm-hmm.
that I personally feel like a 2 week period might be too much of a lull. I know it's a lot. It's a lot for me too, believe me. Like we're both going through like similar transformations, but I'm for the sake of the community, seeing people show up, like it really warmed my heart. Throughout the podcast, we've had groups from both communities come through. I, I'm willing to make the commitment for them to do what's necessary for us to be able to provide them with a weekly uh empowerment podcast.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so what we'll do is, guys, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and so you get the live updates. We will do it weekly. We will. Usually, the thing we got to do, right, is just got to establish the correct time because we had a little bit of a muck up. First one, it's fine.
It's all good.
But we'll talk about it. We'll put it in Discord for everyone who needs to know exactly what time we'll start and what time we'll finish. Again, guys, it's an open conversation, open dialogue. We'll delve into different topics. Hopefully you guys get something out of it. And keep an eye on those notifications and you'll be able to see exactly when that all happens. So in the meantime, I say goodbye to you, sir. Thank you very much for your inputs and always great conversation. And to everyone in the chat, thank you for being here. We appreciate you all very much, and we'll see you next time.
Love you, brother. Good job, man. Bye, guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the support. Enjoy the weekend. Love you guys. Take care.
Much love.
See you, man.